He spilled the tea,
Yeah.
and the
Oh
bitch
no
is
no.
crying.
Be careful
I've got to
walking.
say,
There's
friend.
it's so wet with all the tea spilled. Hello everyone, it's me Kim, and welcome back to It's My 2024 and I Decide the Hyperfixation. And welcome to what I hope will become a new series called Lincoln Media, the hyperfixation being Abraham Lincoln. If you aren't like me, you probably think there's like what? 3, maybe 5 Lincoln-centered films. But if you look through IMDb only, you will find that there's at least, I don't know, 100 or more. So with this series, I will go through as much media as possible and analyze each of them. But first off, what do I consider a Lincoln media? I say Lincoln media, but I'm really talking about films, series, shorts, etc. I won't be analyzing books, or if I do, it won't count for the final score. Yet we are keeping score. Each media will get assigned a note on 210. They will be judged by historical accuracy, their depiction of slavery and what it says about it, how they represent Abraham Lincoln and the other characters, and finally, if I enjoyed it or not. And finally, we, and by we I mean me, can have a ranking of each movies. But I can't just have any medias with Lincoln in it. No. There's a set of rules I follow. First, the media is not a documentary, it's purely a scenarized story. Second, the media has to be focused on Abraham Lincoln mainly. It has to have a production and not just be a single man job. And finally, I need to have access to it. There's a lot of movies which I cannot watch yet because I didn't find them online and I don't have the physical copy. If I analyze a media that doesn't obey a rule, it will be counted as a bonus and won't be part of the final ranking. Disclaimer that I am not a professional Lincolnist or historian in general, but I do consider knowing more about the subject than the average person. But like any amateur or professional historian, I have my personal theories and feelings going into how I analyze events, and it is impossible for me to be totally neutral about everything I say. If you notice that I make a mistake, don't hesitate to kindly point it out in the comments. What media did I choose to talk about for this first video? The movie is called Young Mr. Lincoln, Tank Like Being, the story of Abraham Lincoln that has never been told. So I expected to be surprised. Spoiler alert, I was. This movie talks about his time as a lawyer, which I haven't looked into details prior. The one we're gonna watch right now, I have not watched. So it's the Young Lincoln, a very popular movie from 1939. It's not the oldest that has been created, but it's not that far. The movie begins in New Salem, Illinois, where Lincoln announced his candidature to the legislation and his general political view.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Okay, first off, I think the actor does a good job. First off, he does look like Abraham Lincoln. They did a good job of casting him. And second, the way he moves, I think it's very accurate, so point for that. It's a bonus to find an actor that looks like him and is tall enough. But I mean personality-wise, and like the surface level of Lincoln is very easy to play.
I mean, he's a very chill guy. I don't
Yeah.
think you have to be super expressive to play him.
Right after we meet a new traveling family, Abraham seems way more interested in their horses than what they're talking about until they mention books.
Books?
Looking into their barrel, Abraham finds a law book and immediately is fascinated by it. So this movie seems to imply that Lincoln got a law book like this, which I have no proof he didn't. But his friend John Todd Stewart actually was the main source of his law books. They wanted to put me on the cover of Vogue, but my legs were too long. We find him reading as a woman interrupts him. This woman being Anne Rutledge.
Hello, Anne.
Oh no! Oh, shut up. I'm pissed off already.
To get anywhere.
Good thing I chose such a movie to start with this series, because Anne Rutledge is a part of the story that is widely misinterpreted. There's a great and really complete article that I will link in the description about it, but basically Anne Rutledge is interpreted as Abraham Lincoln's first lover. I even saw articles describe her as his quote-unquote true love. This is false. This is made up. It's something people made up. And by people, I mean mainly the Rutledge family, going as far as saying they were engaged, which would have been very hard to do since Anne was already engaged with a dude named John McNamara. Hello everyone, this is Editing Kim. And just to say that apparently a lot of people, not just the Rutledge, said that they were engaged, but I still find it weird because she was already engaged with someone else. Apparently she just wanted to send him a letter telling about her feeling changing, etc. But yeah, I still find it weird with all I've seen. Even more, Abraham Lincoln never mentions her in any of his letters. And while the Rutledge said that they were a couple, none have any memory of the supposedly courting. TLDR, any source of media presenting them as lovers is biased, and they were nothing but friends. Anyway, we don't see a lot of them since next scene Abraham Lincoln is at a grave.
Because they didn't do shit, you know. They weren't together, and so that pissed me off when people are like talking about Anne as his quote-unquote true love, because that's fucking wrong, you know. Oh, she died already!
So even if they are supposed to be romantic, I can interpret it as simple friends, because reality is what I want. Abraham rambles for a long moment to Anne. It's kind of boring and it's just exposition we don't really need for this movie.
Retro movies, they just like, it's talking.
Make something of yourself.
Yes.
It's just like, I don't care. Show me him doing stuff.
Yes, I know what you'd say.
Yeah, I think doing stuff you have to pay for the OnlyFans.
Shut up!
You win.
Oh, shut up! Do stuff! I want you
C'est
to...
tellement fruit.
Je suis tellement frustre.
We cut to Abraham Lincoln arriving in Springfield.
Look at this nerd. Joshua Speed!
And me being disappointed because we don't see Joshua Speed.
What the fuck is Joshua? We didn't see Joshua.
Why is no media acknowledging that Joshua Speed was such an important person to Lincoln? I will never understand.
Whoa.
I got the law on my side, I'll show you.
Whoa, hey, come.
Hold your horses.
That's as cunty as men get in the 20th century.
Coincidence?
That is top cunty right now.
My legal fee.
Some low shenanigans where Abraham basically threatened two guys to pay him.
Did you ever hear about the time in the Black Hawk War when I butted two fellas' heads together and busted both of them?
Did he just fucking intimidate them?
Thanks, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
He just said, hey, you know, I have a story when I beat up those dudes. And they were like, okay, we're gonna pay.
I just feel so ancient looking at this.
Why?
I don't know, it just feels like oh so many old men. I have the same back pain. I'm ancient.
You think about how, like, probably all of these people are dead now.
Oh yeah, all of them are dead. That's 18 something. If one of them survives,
No, it's not 18. It's 1939.
Still.
So like, dude, they're dead. I'm watching dead people. It's crazy.
Yes, all ghosts.
Whoa.
And,
Okay.
And we cut to the Independence celebration. There Abraham Lincoln meets Mary Todd.
Miss Mary Todd.
Mary Todd, let's go. No,
Can the bitch just die, please?
No.
Though this is not how they actually met, I let it slide because it's overshadowed by the various contests and games there is going on.
Pie judging contest. Is he eating pie? That's me eating my birthday cake like nom 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 nom.
I didn't have.
Also, the actor is actually fucking doing that. That's impressive to me. It's actually pretty fun when there's just no cutting and it's just the actor doing stuff. He won because he's
Well,
the best.
at that time, most people just did improv.
Yeah.
And look who's there! Wouldn't it be the Book Barrel family? And these two dudes that harass this girl.
Is that P.T. Barnum?
We see them later during a tug of war, which Abraham Lincoln cheats for.
I mean, he was a politician.
And one of the boys almost gets in a fight with him.
Oh!
We ain't bothering nobody. See you later.
That's it?
Yeah,
That's
right,
it for
you
the
have-
fight?
We find the family again, and this time the boys are both jumping the dude that harassed one of the girls. The mom comes to the fight scene but cannot do anything but watch on as a man takes out a gun and shoots.
Look out, he's got a rock.
What is this dude doing?
Look out, man, he got a
Uh-oh.
gun.
Oh!
Luckily, none of the boys are hit and they run back to their mother. The man's friend runs towards them and constates him to be dead. The beret guy alerts the entire village that run to the corpse while the boys are taken to jail by the sheriff.
There's been a murder.
Oh, whoa, whoa, hey, we
Alleged.
don't need everyone! We don't need the entire village to see this corpse.
Well, boy, cut right through the
Wait,
That,
dude!
that's literally
Look at
cancel
this shit!
culture.
The entire crowd starts to get angry at the boys and run to jail to beat them up.
Hey, no wonder there was a fucking civil war. Have you seen these animals? Because they wanna just
They look-
fuck them up, you know. It's like, okay, not fucking responsible. Whoa.
Did you
All I
pick them?
gotta say is I can lick any man here, hands down.
Oh my god, it's gonna beat them up?
But Abraham stops them and makes an incredible speech which got both me and Melvin on the edge of our seats.
8. 8 and left no
Down
crumbs.
the spill, boys. Get
He ate and left no cake crumbs.
Yeah, no pie crumbs.
Obviously, Abraham becomes their lawyer. But before we can have any Lincoln lawyer action, Mary Todd dance!
Woo! It was Joshua who introduced him to Mary Todd. But Joshua doesn't fucking exist in this movie, so, you know, I'm pissed off.
He's not important.
Abraham says he wishes to dance with her in the worst way, which is something the real Mary Todd recalls from their first meeting. They dance and that's it. That scene was kind of useless to the plot because Mary Todd isn't important in this movie. All it got to show is how liked Abraham is of the other men and make an historical reference. Now finally back to the case, where Abraham hangs with his client's family.
People used to say I could sink an axe deeper than anybody they ever saw.
You know what? It can sink deeper than anybody ever saw.
Oh my god, stop.
Dirt tail boy in Kentucky.
Okay, fucking
Not
queer.
everything the man said.
Look at
Not everything
Like,
the...
Honest?
You think there's anything you can do about that?
Yeah, Sarah and me'll fix some together.
Did you just
I
ask
think
for
there is a
food?
reason.
Thanks, Sarah.
But doesn't get a lot out of it other than the mother doesn't want to tell which boy killed the man.
For this video, I really will look into this case because it seems very interesting.
Sounds
I know-
so
I know
sad.
He also helped like women get divorced, and like he accepted any case basically, even the stuff that other lawyers didn't want to do. But this one, like a
But, like-
murder.
Don't worry past him because this case isn't real. Or actually not in the sense that he defended two brothers. But some details are part of a trial where Abraham Lincoln defended William Armstrong, sprinkled with a story he himself wrote about defending one out of 3 brothers, both cases being about murder. Like in the story, Abraham chose to defend Armstrong without pay to give a favor to the family. In history, he was friends with the man's father, but not in this movie. Nonetheless, after this scene, finally the most interesting part of the movie comes up, the trial. During this, Abraham mostly spends his time trashing the witnesses, which is absolutely savage out of him.
I got a right to call myself anything I please, as long as it's my own name.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'll just call you Jackass.
Jackass. I just got it.
We also see how liked he actually is, the audience laughing along with him, even the judge is on his side. The prosecutor then calls the woman as a witness. He mentions how both her boys will be killed if she doesn't tell which one killed the man, which she obviously doesn't accept to answer to.
Tell us which boy killed Scrub White. No!
Abraham ends up this guilt trip and explains how fucked up that is, and like, go off, King, you tell him.
Yeah, look away. Fuck off.
Put yourself in this woman's place, Your Honor. Can you truthfully say you'd do differently?
The prosecutor excuses her, and he calls a friend of the victim as a witness. Barrett guy. Yeah, I have no idea what any of these characters' names are, I'm sorry. The man explains having seen the murderer about 100 yards away and accuses one of the boys. The judge evacuates the courtroom and the final trial will happen the next day. Later on, he comes to Abraham to basically pep talking into how to continue this trial.
What I mean to say,
Bro!
Which again shows that people just naturally prefer Abraham Lincoln, which is pretty accurate to how most people on his side talked about him. Lincoln was liked by his peers and offered position because of this, which I think this scene represents. At the final trial, Abraham asked Barrett guy how he could see the murder happen, which the man responds he saw because of the moon brightness.
He's the murderer. None of the boys did it, it was him. Just pause for a moment, I have a theory.
Okay, a theory, a game theory.
Welcome, guys, to film theory. So basically, my theory is that the guy currently in the defendant's stand was actually the murderer. The knife was from the boys, yes, but one of them probably just pulled out the knife to defend themselves. I think the gunshots the jury and the other defendants heard before that was actually the guy currently sitting there.
Interesting.
Just a theory. A film theory.
I missed that part!
Abraham lets Barrett guy go, but at the last moment pulls a Phoenix fright on him and mentions that the moon was at its first quarter, which meant he couldn't have seen the murder from so far away, and accuses him to have committed the murder.
Oh my god.
And you stabbed him.
Oh my
You
god.
stabbed him in the back and killed him. And these 2 boys.
Oh my
Matt
god.
And Adam. They each knew that he
I'm
did.
a genius.
Therefore, each.
Oh my god.
Something I noticed after watching this movie again is that we actually see the murder happening. We actually see him kill his friend. The movie ends on Abraham Lincoln being uploaded and then saying goodbye to the family. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie, which was surprising because I really expected it to be at best boring, at worst frustrating, but it might totally be one of my favorite to watch, at least just for the trial part, which again is the most interesting part of the movie. Now for my judgment. My totally neutral, objective, with no personal feeling in count judgment. First off, accuracy. If we ignore the whole Anne Rutledge thing, and we can, there's 2 historical events at play. Abraham Lincoln's meeting with Mary Todd and the murder trial. While Mary Todd's meeting is not accurate, it isn't as bad as it could actually be, and the fact that it's on the side of the very important trial is not to be complained about for me. And talking about the trial, how accurate is it? Well, despite Abraham Lincoln having defended a single man and not two brothers, the way it was resolved is pretty much the same. I found no evidence of him accusing another man of murder, and as a lawyer he doesn't have to, but it makes for a good story for him to have found the real murderer. So overall, I'd give it a 7. I'm skipping the slavery part since the movie talks about a time before Abraham Lincoln was actively working against slavery. And so Lincoln, how is he? Well, like I precise, Abraham Lincoln isn't a complex character to get a hold of. A shy, insecure man that is extremely friendly and humorous. That's basic. I found the actor to do a good job. Not only does he kinda look like Lincoln, he has a good acting when it comes to his shyness. While not having any recording of his voice, I prefer the Lincoln in medias that have a softer voice, which, noting the basic acting at that time, is not always the case. But I can argue that it might also be because we follow a much younger Abraham. What I couldn't stop looking at is the way he sits, which is very Lincoln. And though it's mentioned he's capable of great strength. I also really enjoy his interest for the horses, knowing Lincoln was an actual animal lover. It's small details, but it's here and I appreciate it. So it's a 9 for Lincoln. The other characters are invented or on the side, but I appreciate their acting. The mother of the accused boy is doing a terrific job, as well as the prosecutor and the judge. I would give a 9, but since Joshua Speed isn't in it, and that personally makes me sad, I take a point away. Okay, maybe I'm not that neutral. For the enjoyment, I'd give a 7, because despite it being a long start, it was a much more enjoyable movie than I expected. And even the parts that aren't important, like the entire Independence celebrations activity, they are very fun to watch. And we get a final score of 7.75. This movie is one of the rare ones to be free on YouTube, so if you want to watch it for yourself, make your own opinion and see the stuff I did not mention, run towards it. Like this video, subscribe for more Lincoln media and reactions. Tell me which movie you want me to watch next. Remember the rules: no documentary, focus on Abraham Lincoln, has a production, and that I can find. I already have some medias that I know I'm gonna talk about, so I'm settled for a while. There's also a bonus video after this one that is just me and Mel's reaction. If you want to check it out, we make a lot of jokes. Okay, I think I said everything. So, bye!